Hi, Twin Flames! This week we're doing something a little different for the weekly forecast. This is going to be more of a yearly forecast since next week is the new year. So I felt like offering a reading to see what is in store for you coming next year and what's going to happen with your Twin Flame journey. So let's get started. Our first card is the lessons you've learned from the past year that are going to help you when it comes to moving forward and seeing positive progress on your twin flame journey. And we have the Nine of Coins. So this is a very beautiful card. It's full of abundance, and abundance is not just coins, as you can see here. It's also joy. It's also life experiences. And I get the feeling that this year was full of lessons for you. There was an abundance of lessons, and you did very well, actually, even if you can't really see that right now, even if you're a bit hard on yourself. And something I kind of like about this card is that it begins in a storm, right? The weather is terrible up there, but the more we keep moving forward, things become better. And there's more blooming trees and flowers, there's grapes, there's all kinds of nice things on the path. So that's also a beautiful reminder not to let yourself be stopped by the challenges, because those challenges are the way to something beautiful. And also, a lot of the hard lessons that you learned are behind you, and you no longer need to look behind. You already learned the lesson, so there's no need to go back and repeat it at this point. You'd just be wasting your time. So it's safe to trust that you fully learned those lessons, you fully integrated them, and this year is going to be very new for you, and it's going to bring beautiful new opportunities. One of the lessons you learned in the past year, I feel, it's that it's safe to have high standards when it comes to your partners, while also meeting those yourself. So, for example, you can't expect a committed lover if you aren't committing to yourself and your twin flame journey. And you commit to yourself and your twin flame journey by choosing to do your inner work, for example, by learning how to love yourself, getting to know yourself. All those things are extremely important and show your commitment to the process. And you need to have a lot of commitment to yourself, divine love, and the process in order to manifest results. And for many of you, I feel like this has been a big lesson this year, learning how to have high standards instead of, just entertaining whatever in your love life, because that's not the way, really. It's not like traditional dating. It's something soul-based, this journey. And it's safe to have high standards. It's safe to actually acknowledge that this is the type of partner that you want and to go for it, while at the same time building those qualities that will attract this type of partner in your life. Like with the commitment example. If you want someone who's committed, you gotta commit to yourself. There's no way around it. And likewise, whatever your core values are, make sure that you're embodying them to the best of your ability and continuing to grow. And that will surely attract your twin flame to you. Another lesson I feel like you've learned this year is the balance between codependency and independence. And that's one that many twin flames struggle with, because it can feel like all or nothing, like I need this person or I'm done with this person, and no in between. However, learning how to have a healthy balance between these two is highly important, and that's really going to help you moving forward. And the biggest lesson I feel for all of you this year was that you can have what you want. And many of you might have struggled with thoughts that you may never have your union, it might never happen, like this desire is pointless because it's not happening. But the lesson here is to move through those feelings and to say no to the negativity. Your heart knows what it's been called to, and your heart is not lying to you. it's the negativity and the ego that is lying to you. So it's safe to let that go and to only listen to your heart and allow it to guide you forward. So let's look ahead now. Let's see what the main theme of this year is going to be for your twin flame journey. And we have the Eight of Wands. Beautiful. So this is a card of like things picking up the pace. Like there's going to be excitement. There's going to be many surprises when it comes to love, as long as you are open to them. A lot of times we might think that our twin flame journey needs to go a specific way because that's what we're used to in soulmate dating. Like you meet someone, there's instant attraction, and then you date, and then you get married. But that's not necessarily the case with your twin flame journey. You might meet your twin flame and not feel romantic attraction at first. It happens to many people. Or many people who were married to their twin flame, they might divorce because they could not find a way to deal with intense triggers that can come up. It doesn't necessarily follow a traditional. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3. But when you allow yourself to completely surrender to what your twin flame journey is supposed to be, instead of what you feel it should look like, that's when it can surprise you in the best possible ways. So a big theme is going to be surrender, not judging how your twin flame journey is going from the outside. Because that's also a big one. Like you can't judge your progress based on what your twin flame is doing. You can only judge it based on how you feel within yourself. And like this doesn't mean that there won't be any conflict between you and your twin flame, but that's okay. A big lesson this year and a big theme I feel is going to be all about learning how to handle this conflict. And you handle that first and foremost within yourself. Like you can't bypass the inner healing work no matter what, no matter how many conversations you have with your twin flame about the matter. You will keep hitting a wall unless you resolve the issue within yourself first. After all, this is first and foremost a spiritual journey. So if you want success, then you really need to treat it like a spiritual journey. And last but not least, what is the advice that Spirit has for you? How can you make this the best year so far when it comes to your twin flame journey? All right, so that looks pretty intense, but stay with me. I get the feeling that something that's really making you struggle on your twin flame journey is the foundational views that you have about love. And those are typically formed in childhood when you see what kind of romantic relationships the people around you have. If your parents were in a marriage where they yelled at each other whenever they had conflict to resolve, maybe they abused each other, that will definitely influence the way you view love and conflict when it comes to romantic relationships. So that's going to come up in your twin flame union for you to question and heal, because ultimately, when it comes to divine love, the conflict is supposed to bring you closer together, not ruin the relationship. Again, we go back to the previous point about dealing with that within yourself first. But I feel like this year is going to be big when it comes to changing the way you view love and romance, because you can't view love in the same way you used to and still expect different outcomes. Something needs to change. And for example, in a soulmate relationship, it is about projecting a certain image of yourself to be loved and making compromises. But when it comes to twin flame love, it's about being authentic and fearless. There are no compromises that you make. You're 100% you. And that's how you are loved, for being yourself. You're not loved for hiding parts of yourself. It's not about sacrificing yourself or your values in order not to be alone. That might be one of the core beliefs that you have about love also that are preventing you from moving forward. Feeling like you aren't worthy of love the way you are, and maybe that love is a sacrifice or, whatever it is. It's important to be very critical of those beliefs when it comes to love and to examine them and let them go and align them to something that is based on divine love instead. Your beliefs are a very big part of your twin flame journey, and they are going to influence the way you act and the decisions you make. And those decisions can be very positive if you are aligned with divine love, but they can be very negative and self-sabotaging if they're not aligned. So make sure that you really sit down with yourself, preferably now starting with the new year, and really take yourself back, maybe childhood, teenage years, your first relationship. See what beliefs formed based on those interactions and those relationships. And if there's any trauma there, if there's any hurt or resentment, make sure that you go in there and heal that so that you can come into the new year with a whole new energy that's going to bring you a whole lot of different positive results. So that was all I had for you, my dear twin flames. Have a happy new year, and I hope to see you in the next video.